Alright guys, GenZ Ricer here, and today we have a portfolio update video on Christmas, so Merry Christmas. We're also going to showcase our new spreadsheet where we showcase our holdings. So, very important video. Right now, $9,600 in value, $5,200 in cash. We got $30,000 more coming into the portfolio next week. Our life savings is about to be inside YieldMax. This will be $120,000 in YieldMax because we do got about $10,000 in safe things like SCHD, VOO, JEPI, JEPQ. But yeah, about $120,000, our life savings will be inside YieldMax. It's gonna be in Jay's hands. But jokes aside, it's not really about Jay, it's more about the market. If we buy in and the market crashes, we are screwed. But if we buy in and nothing happens and the market does good for another year or two, we're gonna have a cash cow. So, if you want to see a 22-year-old man either blow up his portfolio or possibly make a good amount of passive income at the age of 22, and if you aren't willing to risk $120,000 of your money, then you've come to the right place. Subscribe if you want to follow my financial journey. All right, but hey, we're hoping for the best. I don't want to see people bashing on me. Scared money makes no money. It is what it is, right? This is going to be a really good play in a year if everything works out. Hopefully, everything works out. It would suck that the one time I put my money into something, everything goes down the drain. I mean, think about it. Everyone's been saying the market has been overinflated since 2020, right? So, of all the things, it pops the moment I buy in. Surely I can't be that unlucky, right? Anyways, looking at the account, so the only thing different since the last video is we have added more YMax shares and we got Kony shares. We got 200 Kony now. Fivi and Feet have gone up in price. It's almost back at its inception price. YMax, we added a bunch of shares to it. We're at 1,600 shares right now. Essentially, unfortunately, the market dipped because of Jerome Powell, and we tried buying right here. Problem is, it was at 8 o'clock where I set the limit orders. I've set like 5 of them, thinking the market was going to keep going down, so the limit orders at 1680 and whatnot. Next thing you know, I wasn't there at market open, and the market kept going up and up, and we ended up buying a bunch of stock right here at 1750. I guess we did win because our average was at 1830. We bought down here, so we did average our share price down to $17.70. So, I mean, I guess we won in the grand scheme of things. We kept looking at the numbers, and so looking at the portfolio, my mindset is with Nfly, we might sell out of Nenfly. We're probably gonna sell Nfly, so Netflix, and Kony. I mean, we did add Kony. Nvidia, we're gonna add more Nvidia to the portfolio. So that's what I've come up with during the last couple days. Now, this is the fun part. We're looking at the Excel spreadsheet right now, and I showed you guys this from last week, and essentially, imagine this is where I did my heavy lifting and the drafting and the brainstorming and the math. You can see right here, where do I get right here? $2,500 per month. And also, do understand all of our numbers right here are very conservative, right? You guys can see $2,500 right there. Where did I get that? So $75,000 gets 4,200 shares, and it generates $2,500 per month, or $30,000 a year at 15 cents per share. We're using 15 cents per share as our math. The real average distribution from YMax is currently about 20 cents per share per week. So that's what I mean by being conservative. We are using the lower end of all of our numbers. You can see another example right here. We got Nvidia right here, 250 shares, which generates $250 per month. You can go to Nvidia's distribution website, and you can see every distribution over the last 6 months is pretty much over $1. So if you want to be nice and say the average distribution is $1.20 to $1.40, then that's the real average, right? But instead of saying $1.20 or $1.40, we're using $1 per share, because $1 times 250 is 250 per month. So if the distributions start trending downward slowly, we're able to compensate because our expectations aren't at 20 cents per share or $1.40 per share for Nvidia, but instead our math is based on 15 cents per share and $1 per share for Nvidia. pretty much YMax distributions can take a 25% cut and my math would still make sense, right? I'll still break even in 26 months. On the flip side, if the market does what it's currently doing and it keeps paying an average of 20 cents per share per week, then our real monthly income for YMax, for example, is going to be $3,300 per month. So that's what I mean by we are very conservative with our numbers. But yeah, guys, 4,200 shares of YMax, Coney, 1,200 shares, NVIDIA, 250, XDTE, 100, msty, 100 shares, Feet, 100 shares. We're going to be spending $113,000, which generates us $4,300 in passive income per month with the current numbers and the current distributions. If all of this pays itself off, it'll take 26.5 months to break even. Now, my concern is if you've seen me on Twitter or on other people's YouTube channels or on Reddit, then I always say if a market crash or a correction happens, then you'll always see me bring this up because I am a skeptical person. I'm not optimistic. I say not optimistic even though I'm about to invest $130,000 into this portfolio. But anyways, we are pessimistic in the sense of we are afraid, and that's why we're conservative. So you want to break even as quickly as possible, because when you get to house money, right? When you put in $113,000, what I mean by break even, 4,300 in distributions times 26.5 months. So I'll get my $113,000 investment back. It's just going to take 26 months. Now, the problem is that's too long. A correction can happen in that amount of time. We need to shorten that period up. And a lot of people won't like me for this, but it is what it is. If you are in the high yield dividend investing market, then you might see how I see things, and that's using leverage to break even quicker. It's also for most people, they don't care about break even. What they care about is to make more passive income with other people's money. But for me, it's a double-edged sword, right? Either market crashes and we lose our investment and also we're screwed with the margin, or we make a bunch of money from passive income. All right. And I want to speak to you guys right here. This is a mindset change. You got to mentally tell yourself, if you were to open up your own business, you got to buy a building. That's your upfront cost. If you fail at the business, it is what it is, but you got to cough that money up and you're going to lose that money. Or that business does good and you make a bunch of money. I'm trying to say that as in, how do we shorten this 26 months? Well, you gotta use this $113,000 initial investment as an initial investment. The goal isn't to break even on this, but it's to scale with margin. You can see we're gonna spend 40%. We're gonna use 40% leverage and get $40,000. And instead of spending 26 months to break even on this $40,000, because this times 26 gives you about $40,000. Again, 26 months is too long. We need to break even quicker. But the funny thing is, if you add this plus this, right, your initial equity position plus your margin position equals $5,800 per month. Now, if you times it by 7 months, right? You'll break even in only 7 months. Although this will break even on $40,000. So what I mean right here is margin makes it take 14 to 16 months, because if 6 to 7 months from now you pay off your margin of $40,000, your portfolio ideally it is at about $150,000, right? At this point, you get $50,000 to $60,000 of margin all over again. So because it took 7 months the first time, this time it might take 8 months or 9 months. So it equals to 14 to 16 months to break even. Now, would you rather break even on your money at 26 months or at 14 to 16 months? And that's how I am looking at things. If we want to be optimistic with the market and say it doesn't crash in a year to two, then 1 year from now, a little over 1 year from now, we are going to make our initial investment back, because we're going to be using margin, $40,000 initially, and then if everything gets paid off, it's going to be another position in margin worth $50,000 to $60,000. And if that works out, then we are just going to have a cash cow at that point. You can see right here why I have a question mark XDT. So why XDTE? We can look at the chart. XDTE is really good because it's the same as an income fund, but inception price $50, gone down, went up, went down, it goes up. It came out in March, and almost a year later, it's sitting at $51. So it's able to hold its price and it pays weekly. So this is a really good fund in my opinion. That's why we got XDTE. So the question mark is we need something stable in the account. Ideally, inside your portfolio, you want something like VOO, SCHD, something solid that's not gonna crash completely. And if it does crash, it'll go back up in price. You can't exactly say that with YMAX, right? But you know, we're high risk right now, so we're all in YMAX with $75,000. It's our core holding. And I could have bought more Nvidia or Coney with the margin, right? But instead, I'm thinking we use $15,000 and 2,000 and $5,000 in XDT, so a combined total of $20,000, because at least we can start slowly building a core position inside something more stabler than YieldMax. And what do I mean stabler? So if there was a hierarchy from riskiest to safest, YieldMax is the riskiest. Next up is Roundhill XDTE. We've seen the chart already. Very good chart. Very stable. So it's able to hold its price. Next up is next up is JEPI and JEPQ. Then it's SCHD. SCHD is too slow. That's how we were in the dividend Discord, or we were in the dividend Reddit, and we ended up fighting YieldMax. Funny enough, someone was roasting YieldMax in the Reddit. They were making fun of it, like you don't want to lose your money. Like look at Tesla, for example. And then I was like, "What's YieldMax?" And then that's where I found YieldMax. Next thing you know, I'm putting my life savings into freaking YieldMax in Jay's hands. So funny how that works out, but we got Coney, Nvidia, XDTE. This is what our future portfolio is looking like. It's gonna look like. Yeah, we don't know how things are gonna go next year. Um, Again, I don't want to be political, but just talking out loud here. So we got Donald Trump coming into office. So what does this mean? He's pro crypto, so I mean it should be good for Coinbase, for example, right? And Coney. But the thing is, whether you like him or you don't, the market does what the market will do, and it doesn't like volatility. When Donald Trump comes into office, he's gonna flick these levers, like push that button, pull this lever in the economy. Everything he does, everything he does, it's gonna affect the economy. Like tariffs, for example, affects the economy. We don't know how the market will perceive things. We don't know if it'll take one little poke into the bubble to pop it. And again, Donald Trump likes the stock market, so if you want to say he would never let the stock market fail. I mean, you might say, yes, he would. He can't control the stock market. Well, we look at 2020, for example, the pandemic happens, and this is history, guys, right? 2020, pandemic happens, market crashes. What do? They print a bunch of money. They stop foreclosures from happening. They stop evictions from happening. They're bailing people out, basically. Print a bunch of money, and it boosted the stock market. So in this case, YMAX might fall 20% because the market dips due to whatever happening next year or the year after. But we would probably get bailed out realistically unless 2022 happens. If 2022 happens, YieldMax is probably going to go down, and Coney is our testimonial. Again, look at Coney. So if 2022 happens, now the key thing is even if the chart goes down 30%, for example, on YMAX, it does not matter, assuming volatility is there and they are able to still pay their distributions. This is what matters. The cash flow is what matters. In my opinion, I don't think a market crash likely will happen because we would be bailed out real quickly. The main problem is if 2022 happens and we go into a slight bear market. Now, inside a bear market, do is there volatility? Will we get our distribution still? If we do, then we're gonna be chilling pretty much. We're gonna be chilling, guys. But if the volatility goes down and the distributions get cut by 50%, we're gonna have problems, big problems. But yeah, guys, that's our spreadsheet. This is what my portfolio will look like in the future. $113,000 in equity, $4,200 per month, 40% levered, $40,000 in margin, a total monthly income of $5,838 being conservative. So realistically, our monthly income might be $6,500 per month if we are being generous, but we're going to use 5,800 to be conservative. And we're going to break, and assuming we spend the whole $113,000 in January, then 7 months from then, if everything's going all right, we'll pay off our first chunk of $40,000 in margin. Then we're going to buy $60,000 more in margin. And if we pay that off, then we're pretty much going to be at house money, guys. We're going to be chilling. And we are going to have a cash cow in 14 to 16 months. But anyways, guys, if you made it this far into the video, then thanks for watching, and hopefully you guys stick around for the journey. Raishiro out.